So now it is all on the shoulders of Vapor. They have 3 eliminations between them, so they've got to chain together more if they're looking for more points. Thankfully, the Storm goes back the opposite way.
And look who actually took high ground from them. It's Destiny's Jesus and Pyro. Because you can throw this GL down in so many different and Destiny Jesus didn't, so a little bit of out because I know Pyro has something. He does right now and possibly put themselves in position. This fight is for all the marbles. That's going to be the end of Blaster and Alpha. Pyro and Destiny Jesus took the high ground.
This is so huge. All he had to do was buy the time for the siphon to come through, and that's exactly what he did. Look, Alpha dropped all the way down. He was like, look, you know what? That entire fight is lost. And now Destiny's Jesus and Pyro can rejoin. Down below, Pablo is going toe-to-toe with Alpha. And look at this, Suicide Mark as well. He gets traded out. And now Pablo is in a 1v2.
I think actually Destiny Jesus just knocked a few GLs down there, but he falls to his elimination right there. He gets knocked, and right now Pyro's making the slow climb down. It's now a 1v1 as Alpha goes down, but Pyro takes out Vapor, and the Victory Royale puts them at 63 points to win that game.
Man, so don't forget, we've seen quite a bit of points. They very well could be contesting for top 5 right now, and that would be absolutely huge. But of course, more games, more action to tune into. We're over by Tomato Temple. Look at it. All hail.
That last elimination, they could be pushing up towards not necessarily qualification range just yet, but another one of those performances, and they very well could be. Remember, though, the queues are closed, so that could have been the last game that we just watched there. But here's Rennick takes out Mitro, and his teammate Vermax is already down, so Mitro himself did not have his duo partner Mongrel, but we already know their prowess. They've, you know, it seems as if they've qualified multiple times for duos already, Mitro and Mongrel, so they're not worried about that. Obviously not getting a chunk of that $2 million that's spread across all the regions. But again, talking about the scores and the standings, right now you can see Frenzy and Ads are already kind of tied with that last team that we saw.
Yep.
So possibly
and if I remember,
up through this game.
If I remember, it was Stomping Shinken, right, that had 77. If I remember correctly. It's honestly there's been so much action.
If that's an assumption that we're trying to make, I think we can go ahead and make that comfortably.
I think what I was also going to say in regards to that is that don't forget they've already qualified, right? So even if they're sitting at that #1 spot, that shifts the entire standings down.
The story in and of itself.
Yeah.
Stomping Shinken, they've done it every single duos week. They have not missed a beat on making sure they're up in the top spots every single weekend.
Man, to get and be able to like get that kind of practice, right, and to keep doing it. One thing would be like, we qualified, we hit, you know, the very next week we hit first, all right, then we've hit at least like maybe top 10, but no, these guys are hitting top 3
the value
back to back.
Stink bombs right now, Zeke. I think he's going to get both from this last one. I think this is going to do it. I think his HP is going to be gone, but no, not throwing it all the way ahead, but he's going to find the AR shots regardless. So Ghosty and Jamif falling to, you know, he actually still has 2 more stink bombs right here. That's crazy.
And don't forget, these get more valuable as the circle closes, right? Because remember, this is the space of, or I guess the stink cloud is a little bit bigger than a 1x1. So as that circle continues to close, you can really be putting some people in really tough spots, especially when you're basically just saying, the entire play space you're in right now, boom, I have dealt it, you're smelling it.
Classic Zekeism right there. He always gets the last laugh. But moving into the rest of this game right now, it's Zeke and Narcos on high ground.
You know, I really got to reach out to Zeke here because we have the same name, and every time Sundown is on broadcast and says his name, I look and I'm like, wait, did you say my name? Does he need me? Never mind.
Off, but as that branches out more and more, hold on, because Hadkos falls directly into somebody's box, and I think that's going to be the end. Yes, he falls to the zone because that player takes advantage of the, distraction that he had up on high ground and knocks him out from below. Now it's Frenzy and Ads that I was just kind of referencing in terms of their points. At 66, they take the high ground, Zeke.
Look at this, 67 points now. They're trying. Now, don't forget, we saw, again, 77 is the highest we've seen so far. They're 10 points in striking distance, and that's if that duo was in the #1 spot. So you've got to think, again, these guys are contesting for top 5. We've seen teams literally sit here and trade places, and if they hit top 15, it's going to be huge. Lestream, Vato, and Skite are in this game, Bala.
That is huge. And they're at 77 as well,
so
as we see and update their scores. So just like you're talking about, 77 is that point to beat. Right now, they're going to find another. The cone slide comes in. It's Takeoffs again who goes down, and his teammate Andretta falls to Tux, who is with Borwin. We saw them win the game earlier.
And look, dude, they jump up to 81 points. They hit the top 15. Those first 3 points are so crucial. And look, they're just waiting it out, right? This lobby's going to continue to thin itself out. Zeke, my boy, unfortunately gets picked up, and another round of placements. 83, Bala. 83. They could very well clutch this up and just be the point leaders.
This could be it. Skite and Vato could finally, after 10 weeks of trying, after 4...
Even just hitting top 5 would make the difference right now, Bala.
And I don't even think all these builds are his. You can see as soon as he got into the next box, he frantically makes...
No!
But it's Tux who took out Vato earlier. He uses the stink bomb at the opportune moment and takes out a few more. That's 7 eliminations total. Borwin's still up, though, so he still has an opportunity to make this work.
Oh, man, eliminated 6 there, just on the cusp, but it's okay. Again, that's now the highest point value we've seen. Even evade ads, look at this, 75 points right now. These numbers are getting out of control. Vorban down on the lowest ground, he's going to be dropped.
He's got to break through metal, though.
He's got to find Sensei, look up. He's got to get Sensei, he's going to jump down in front. No! He does not get the trade out. Ads right now has the health advantage. Frenzy and Sensei, look at them both. They're so hurt that the storm is continuing to tick them out, and it is not enough. It's Ads and Frenzy get the victory royale.
Man, Zeke, we're getting 79 points.
I can't do
and
this.
that could be 80 because I know that elimination counter is slow to update towards the end of these replays. It could be enough, and that could even be possibly their last game, or they could have gotten one more in before these queues. I mean, Zeke, this is coming straight down to the wire here in Europe.
Oh my goodness, man. Of course it would be like this for the final week. It's been like this every, periodically we've seen moments like this where we've seen players edged out at the very end.
And I gotta, Vato and Skite, man.
Yes.
Out in 6th place in that game, not quite making it to 5th place. That could come back to bite them in a terrible fashion. It could be heartbreaking for them, but we go ahead and catch up with them later in the But as we saw that last game, they pushed over that 77.
So they're at 83 points when we last saw them. So right now, if you're looking at Thomas and his dual partner, Kluja, they could very well contest that 83 points that we saw, right? It's only a difference of 6 points. That's making it into top 10. They're at, or excuse me, top 5. With a few eliminations sprinkled in there, man, I do not want to see Skite and Vato get edged out again. They've come so close so many times. This has got to be their week, and you've got to think they're thinking the same thing, right? They're like, it's all come down. We've put everything on the line. We're playing our hearts out. This is our week to qualify. Just keep your head up and keep positive.
And Split and Tux takes advantage of that. And then the stink bomb coming in at the perfect moment. Skype not having any white heels. We talked about it earlier. So ending up edging them into that top 5 and finding some eliminations on the way too.
Probably kicking themselves, thinking if we had made game. Brolof here and his duo partner Artemis Swede. They're in top 15. Don't forget that first round of placement points is great. But they're at the 39 threshold. They've got to make more happen. And don't forget Thomas and Klusha. They're sitting on 77, if I remember correctly. The question would be, who else is in this lobby? What other big names can we scout out?
It's not just big names, but anybody who's up at the top of the leaderboards right now, because as far as I'm concerned, Thomas and Klusha are the subjects of this game as far as we've seen so far. Obviously, everybody else getting the action. Berloof here, we've already seen them pick up one. They picked up another knock. Are they going to be able to find the elimination here? And they're holding them in zone. They're going to actually probably get this. Definitely the knock is going to be confirmed.
Oh, he should have just taken the shots with the AR. He's going to get blue damage numbers over. Here we go. Isla there gets picked up, but oh, man, this is coming down to the wire. This 14 number hasn't quite changed. Top 10 is the next threshold.
Well, they get knocked out.
Oh, they're coming down. They got to start building down. Did they drop?
Probably just a little bit of damage there, or, you know, started using the glider redeploys. Yes, the rift comes out actually for Berloof, but I don't think he took his teammate Sweet with him. No. You see only a little bit of white HP missing, so probably maybe used a shadow bomb or maybe a flint knock or something to save himself from taking the damage, but was on high ground. He's looking to see, maybe I'm going to make a play right now. No, he's going to decide I want to join my teammate, and Sweet has a perfect hold for him as he edits him down through it. It's Thomas and Klusha on high ground, by the way.
Yeah, this is a game. They need to close this game out, right? Like,
yes.
We know for a fact 83, again, in case you just tuned in, that was the highest threshold we've seen for points. Klusha and Thomas, they were at 77 not that long ago. They're about to hit top 10, which is another round of placement points on top of any eliminations they picked up along the way. Down below, though, Swede and Artemis Sweet and Berloof, I hope I'm saying that correctly. They're making things happen, right? They've got the 6 eliminations. They want to try and rack up as many as possible. But they are so far behind right now.
And I've got to criticize the use of that second shadow bomb there instead of getting into the box. Maybe a misclick or something, because now he doesn't have the rotation to stay with his teammate Berloof, who does have one more shadow bomb remaining. They're going to have to path in and walk it in.
Right now, again, top 10 is another round of placement points. Everything is going to slow down. Santo is single, unfortunately picked off right there at the edge, missing out on those points. I want to go back up top, right? I want to see what's going on with Klusha. I want to see their points right now. Berloof, Sweet, he's dropped down to nothing. Anyone could accidentally sneeze in his direction and he could get picked off. Someone finds it. It's Detox who's going to be picked off in the crossfire there. Now Sweet, again, he's ticking. It must be within a stink bomb, and he gets traded out. Berloff does. But Sweet, look, his HP jumps up, so he must have found elimination.
A second before, if that player doesn't come from behind, he actually gets the siphon and probably survives there.
Yep.
So everything coming down to these milliseconds decision. I still haven't seen Thomas. Yes, they finally got one elimination from up on high ground. Sweet starting to use that campfire to its full effectiveness here as the zone starts to go back in the other direction. 5 players, or 5 duos remaining, 7 total players.
Oh, and Thomas gets picked up. That puts Artemis Sweet in the top 5, another round of placement points. So does that mean, that must mean they both have been eliminated? Yes, they are both gone. Right now on the high ground, you've got a player, and everyone else is super huddled together, because don't forget, this play space is just shrinking right now. Stir6, his dual partner Twix, is alive. They find Sweet, who gets picked off.
I love the placement of that trap, though, and the quick reaction from Sweet to actually edit his cone in a certain way so he can make it out unscathed, but still, 4 duos remaining. 1 player drops behind. They're all the same skin for some reason, and Stysrix is going to be able to find him easily. So that duo down on low ground by themselves right now against 2 more players, Nijulian and Oxy right here.
And down below, Styrix and Twix are the only duo left. They immediately shut down Oxy. They're like, 1 player's pushing us, just let's cooperate, let's shut this guy down, and now they're in a 2v1. Gooden here is going to have the fight of his life, and he's on the 64 points. We've seen a lot of players hovering in that range. This could make the difference if he can find both of these eliminations and the victory royale. 5 points could make the difference. He gets cracked, Bala, down to 23, 13. Oh my God! the sickest flint knock I've ever seen.
That could have been the sickest flint knock I've ever seen, because if he got that elimination and landed, he could have gotten the siphon and all of a sudden forced this into a 1v1 with HP advantage. But unfortunately going to go out into the zone, not able to control himself with the flint knock. Just like Zeke here, a little bit of excitement there from that play.
I'm melting in my chair. I'm just slowly sliding down. I'm trying to collect myself, Fortnite fan, but it's not working. Right now, next game, 62 players, 34 duos, still sliding down. 85 points from Rojo and Wolfies? Okay, guys, all right, listen.
So they were slowing down when we last took a look at the standings when I was up there with you, Zeke. They were slowing down. They fell out of that first place. They're starting to creep down to that 6th, that 7th. We were talking about whether their games have been played yet, but climbing back in a strong fashion here. They've got one more game, and at 85 points, if they make this a big one, they could break 100 and almost guarantee themselves a spot to New York.
They have shifted gears, shifted mindset, and have said, we need to punch our tickets. We need to be on the stage of the World Cup Finals in New York City right now. They've got 3 eliminations between them. Don't forget, top 15 is the round of placement points. They are halfway there. They've got to play this smart. They've got to find these few eliminations, like this one player roaming around. Oh my God! Elite gets picked off, another elimination heading their way. And look at this, they're just looking to confirm eliminations, beam players as they can while being as safe as possible, because look at all the resources they've got available to them. Shadow bombs, chug splashes, the combat, minis, they've got it all. They're looking to make this, Bala.
It's kind of crazy. I actually thought that he had an infantry rifle in his hands, but no, it's actually a heavy AR, which you don't see used too often anymore because of the effectiveness of that infantry rifle at long range. But you can't, you got to take what you get, and maybe he even prefers the heavy AR, because it does have, you know, a bigger clip in it.
Yeah.
Not doing quite as much damage, but up in the top left right now, we're not only looking at the thresholds reaching top 25, but Mr. Savage goes down in this game. Not too consequential because he's already qualified for New York, but that's another hint that they're probably not going to be making it up there and taking those top 4 spots.
That's right. Don't forget they've qualified, which means right now they're playing for money, which is great. So you got to think they're trying to find eliminations. Den Magis Pulse, by the way, someone tweeted at us. That means the magical sausage. You're welcome. The more you know. More shots coming out here from Ollie is cracked. He did not manage to crack that player's shields, but the shots were pretty on point, and he's, of course, 761 above the damage threshold for the Storm. There, Motor, for just a brief moment, peeks out, and Ollie finds and secures it.
I think he might have also hit Motor's teammate, Ferox.
I believe he did.
As he jumped out of that box, I'm looking at Wolfies and Rojo right now, carpeting their way towards the zone. They're going to go ahead and decide to launch pad. They use that, you know, tarp for a second just to get ahead of everybody else, make sure they're not gonna, you know, hit their heads and waste the launch pad effectively. But here, Benji using those chug splashes to immediately get back up to max health, starting his turtle forward.
And the fish out of water here, I mean, the duel of these, you know, we kind of, it's funny that you said we may not see them in top 10, but look at the point threshold.
I know.
They said, look, Bala, we're savage, we're Benji Fishy, bro. Don't put us out. By the way, four rounds in the AR, only 4.
And Zeke finds actually 2 players who didn't edit their box close. He's going to take out Black. And his teammate as well, Stoico, going down, and that's probably the end of their run in the World Cup.
Benji literally just said, Zeke, I don't care about these 4 AR rounds. Watch me pick up the double, and now I'm sitting on 300. Check me again, bro! I'm a fish out of water! I can breathe in fresh air! That was, in case you didn't see that, that was a thing at the summer block party, which made me laugh, by the way. Go back and watch those little interstitials. They're fantastic. That's what I was referencing. But 86 points over on Wolfsies and Rojo.
Yeah, and he's actually in trouble here as the Shadow Bomb. This player actually doesn't realize, though, he's going to take a nice shot onto Mawaka, sorry. As Wolfie's making his way forward, Rojo is split, but we've seen this situation before. Again, reaching towards that 90 points right now. One more elimination is going to do it, but Rojo goes down, and it's all up to Wolfie's right now.
All right, here we go. So Rojo gets picked up. But now, look, they've just hit that 90-point threshold. So let's think about this, right? If Wolfies could clutch it up by himself, he'd have to at least get the Victory Royale, which is another 7 points, and at least 3 eliminations. There's still 10 players. It's doable.
To get 100, is that what
to break the triple digits. Yeah, I want to see the 100. I want to see it. because you know they want to see it too.
I mean, based on what scores I'm seeing already spread out throughout the map and the games that we've seen, I think he's already probably clinched it. But you know, he's thinking, I have to perform the best I have ever done here. I have to win this game if I want to make it, because I don't have high ground. I don't have a teammate. I've got to do everything. I've got to take all this responsibility on my shoulder, all the pressure from all 10 weeks, and do it right now, Zeke.
That's right, and you got to think, they're probably saying, like, just imagine this was you on the stage of the World Cup Finals, right? Imagine you're in that moment. Take everything, all the practice, the long hours you put and dedicated to this game, and focus it and hone it in right now. Wolfies, he's got 3 eliminations. Again, 94 points. If he could find 3 more eliminations, it's not enough. Confetti trades him out and shuts him down in that moment. And now it's coming down to this. It's a 2v1.
Confetti and Toos. It's kind of crazy because we started World Cup in week 1 in semifinals. Toos playing in solo is actually destroying the semifinals, and now here again, ending EU. Is he going to be able to pick up this win? It could propel them up to 71 points, but it's going to happen. Ollie goes down, almost makes a hero RPG play onto Confetti. My heart dropped for a second there, but that really could be, you know, a story from the start to the finish, Zeke.
Yeah. This is, I think, the only fitting thing now to do. I'm stressing out of my mind, but for now, let's send it into Pookie. She's in the studio. She's going to break down what's going on.
Thank you so much, Zeke. You know what? Go get yourself a sandwich. Go get a drink of water. Calm down. I was over there. You were stressing out for sure. I am joined here with Sundown. Those games are absolutely incredible. You always putting on a show. Never disappointing. Speaking of that, don't want to bring up who's going to be disappointed or excited, but we got to look at the standings.
The final standings, the last 4 coming out of Europe. It's been so absurdly competitive, and let's take a look. Punch some tickets going through. Wolfies and Rojo taking the top spot. Stompy Tashinkin, Benji Fishy, and Mr. Savage don't know how to share. They're still hanging out. Had already qualified, so that means it shifts down, and we got Skype, Invato, Vorin, and Tux, and then Klusha in Singularity's Thomas HD taking up the spots, 1 point separating the difference, going through there. Saw it going down. I mean, this is nuts. So many players who we've seen. Klusha getting the double qualification going through. Shinken and Stompy not knowing how to stay off of the top. Huge runs from Skype and Vato, as well as Vorin and Tux. And then Wolfies and Rojo just dominating at the start of the day, kind of falling off, and everyone was saying, oh, can they stay up there? A huge last-minute surge, $20,000, a trip to New York City, Pooks. That's massive.
Congratulations to everyone who has qualified for World Cup Finals in New York in July. I cannot wait to meet all of you, but we have some business to get down to, Sundown.
Time to punch some tickets, right?
Yeah, we got to punch those tickets.
All right, let's get the top one right there. Congratulations, Wolfies and Rojo.
We got Skype and Vato coming out of the stream. Am I doing this one?
Yeah, you can get that one as well. Split it up 2 and 2, and then get Vorin and Tux. Such a great job from Tux there. We saw a number of his plays. Vorin as well clutching up in the end, and then rounding it out. Klusha, by the way, in Singularity. Thomas HD. Congratulations, all of you played so incredibly well. It was a great day to round it out. But again, hey, first of all, to even get to Sunday in Europe, it took 67 points in a victory royale. Like, if you were playing on Sunday, you're among the best of the best there, and just because your name isn't up here doesn't mean you're done. There's always going to be more to play for. There's always more there. And speaking of always more competitive Fortnite stuff, we recently actually just launched our own dedicated Twitter to all things competitive Fortnite. You know, let's just throw it on up there. Go ahead, give it a follow as well. It's twitter.com/FN competitive, and I mean, there's always a way to get involved. We're going to be highlighting plays, we'll be doing breakdowns, we'll be asking you who your favorite players are up there, so keep an eye on that. And then let's also see what is up on the social wall and what players had to say up there. Boom, right on up there, and then everyone's saying welcome to Twitter on there. Let's go. People being excited about it, and look at that. I love the Sharks just slamming the like and the retweet button.
Nice. I love that. Cutest graphic I've seen on this wall thus far. Can we just talk about Evade Orange's tweet for a second? The only Twitter I need. Could not have said it better myself.
Well, he needs his own there to interact with it as well.
That's
but
true.
I mean, just
You know, potato, potato. It is what it is. But yeah, guys, if you're not following this Twitter already, please go and give it a follow. I'm following it. I know Sundown is. Tweet to us on there. We'll be replying to stuff all day today. But you know what? I feel as though, you know, we've seen a lot of games coming out of Europe today. You know, we've seen a lot of people, you know, punch their tickets. Congratulations to everybody so far. I cannot personally wait to get into the next set of games. So before we do that, we are going to go to a quick break. Do not go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll have more Fortnite action.
Let's fly out to the lobby. Let's fly out to the lobby. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your spots and nuts. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos royale with brunch. Red juices, a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly out to the lobby.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Sundown here, and today we're gonna talk about the Tactical Assault Rifle and its addition to competitive play.
The Tactical Assault Rifle is probably one of the best additions to the game. It's a long-range weapon where you could save AR ammo if you have a drum gun.
Small bullet you can find everywhere, so it's a good weapon.
The Tactical AR is an uncommon, epic, and legendary weapon that utilizes light ammunition and has a high rate of fire. It does 22, 23, or 24 damage depending on rarity, has a pretty fast first shot accuracy timer, and a dope reloading animation. I mean, come on, just look at it. We've seen a lot of competitive players opt into using the Tactical Assault Rifle over the course of the Fortnite World Cup online open qualifiers. So let's hear from some of the players who qualified for the finals and get their thoughts on the TAC AR's addition to the game.
It's really good, like really good. Once you get to endgame scenarios like 5th zone and beyond, it absolutely beams. It's very viable in meta right now. Everybody's been using it.
I like it because you could actually sneak up on someone. It has this low sound, so it's hard to hear.
It has its viability due to its first shot accuracy that can make it really strong, and the fall off damage isn't as strong as it was for the silent SMG, which got vaulted.
I reckon the gun's awesome for endgame, because if you've got height, that gun can really get a lot of eliminations because it's like a laser, and people endgame tend to have less HP than they would towards the early and mid game, so I think it's really strong in situations.
Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on the Tactical Assault Rifle, and when do you like to use it? Send us your opinions using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, and I'll see you on the battle bus, or maybe on the high ground with a TAC AR.
Fortnite fam. Did I beat you in rock, paper, scissors? Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. I probably did because I'm really good at it. It's the only thing I'm good at ever. But, guys, we are knee-deep in the World Cup finals. Qualifier here for duos. It has been unbelievable. The European action has not disappointed. But, of course, we're getting ready to hop into more games. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Oceania replays because don't forget Oceania and Asia happened overnight. So we're going to also look at Asia replays as well. I guess I should have said both. And then we're going to take a live look into Brazil, see how things are going for them. I need two casters on deck. Let's get Pookie Face. Let's get Sundown. Let's get into these games.
Thank you so much, Zeke. I'm joined here by the amazing Pookie Face, who has a great talent at ignoring high fives.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, she literally looked right at the camera and then right at me. But as Zeke just said, Oceania and Asia wrapped up last night. I stayed up and watched some of the games. I know most people didn't, but they were incredible. The last spots were there, and let's hop in, give these guys a little coverage, and celebrate just how awesome at Fortnite they are. Now, a fun fact about both these guys, 7 matches played total. That was all they ended up running through. So they were able to get the maximum amount of points through each one of them, not needing all 10. And as we talked about with the breakaway esports duo of Serpent and Hype, averaging a placement of 2.67 across those 7 games. That is ridiculous over the course of 10 games.
Right.
But like in that spree, I think the closest we've seen is the Twins out of Oshi when they were playing more placement based and less aggro. I think they had one of the weeks up there where they were nearing 4, but sub 3 is. That's really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty incredible, like you said. And we see Hype just get the elimination on Pendragon, LOL there, just utilizing his edits there to quickly peek out, make sure that he's not leaving himself too exposed. Take a look at his partner, Serpent, who has got his own agenda of what he's doing over here. Looks like he's doing the same thing, but on the opposite side. So these guys just applying pressure all over the map.
Yeah, and one thing to note, it is a much sparser circle when you're in those very late games in terms of Oceania. Some players opting to play aggro, trying to get their games out there, will just go full send and try and burn through a couple towards the end to get into another one. But if you have good game management, in comparison to the rest of the lobby, it's not a ton. It's good.
No, for sure. And to your point, kind of what you said about knowing, where your opponents are. Let's keep in mind that there's only 12 players left on this map right now, and only 7 duos remain. Make that 11 and 6. I spoke way too soon. Serpent secures another elimination there on Bray. But in terms of final circles, Sundown, this is not something that we see very often in these late games.
No, and it makes for interesting play because people can be more calculated, but normally you don't get as much room to operate. So now all of a sudden, Zank being in this 1-by-1 by himself, if certain Hype want to go pinch him, they absolutely will. They know this is a 2v1. They know there's no one else here, but Zank is now trying to get whatever opportunity he can to free up shots, knowing that the next elim that goes down is the top 5, and every single point matters, even if not for qualification, then for the prize money, with the prize pool being doubled in weeks 9 and 10.
Yeah, and Zank making that quick decision to just use the launch pad, kind of get out of there. He saw that there were players rushing at him, decided to go up, get the high ground, which does end up working out for him because he lays down a 35 and a 71 shot on opponents down below. Breaks a baller, which is going to be bad news for that player. He isn't going to have that additional protection anymore. But he is just trying to fire shots, methodically go through and see if he can actually get any kind of knocks or eliminations here to get that siphon, because he doesn't actually have any kind of healing, and he does take out Jimmy, so that is certainly going to help him for any kind of future eliminations or any kind of engagements here.
Yeah, and it got him into the top 5, and Goobaz actually ended up going down as well, so just getting the tags on the end of the storm as rotation does go up the mountain, the verticality being the difference there. Elimination does go over. That was the knock we had just talked about. While Replace goes through, he edits down, has nothing to catch himself, but luckily was on the edge of it. But Hype is relentless on the high ground, and now they're going to start working the top down. When we started on board with them, they had 4 elims, now worked it all the way up to 8. There is 9 and 10, and they're looking to close this match out, and this is where every point matters. Getting the wall replaced, and Slaya goes down. Well done from Hype and Serpent. 11 elims in the victory royale.
Well done from them indeed. Now, unfortunate to see Slayo go down. I know that he is a favorite from a lot of people, but you know what? Second place, not too bad, Sundown.
No, it was a good effort, but like you said, once kind of those two get rolling, when they have the momentum, they are able to just run with it. We've seen it before in the semifinals, and when they finally converted it over, sometimes that's all it takes. If you're able to put the pieces together on the right day in the finals. That's what ends up mattering. Now we're on board here with Surf Junkie and Evanix.
And take a look at their loadout they have right now. 2 Rift to Goes, 2 Shadow Bombs. I'd be interested to see if they've split the Shadow Bombs. Duos will typically do that. You know, give 2 and 2 so each partner has some kind of mobility in their inventory. They do only take up 1 slot, and you can carry a whole bunch of them. So we've seen time and time again players utilizing those to make rotations, make sure they're safe heading into the next zone, and they are going to actually opt to rift out there so that they can make that early rotation. They did have quite a long way to go, but they are going to look to see if they can possibly sneak on some high ground here.
Yeah, the thing is there, well, it seems like it is a little bit of an early rift. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, majority of the players were in their path in order to get to the rotation. So when you have 2 rifts and 2 extra shadow bombs as well as a ton of the shields, you can afford to be a little more aggro there, and they're actually able to now get priority on the zone and pick up an elim as well. But can they get the mats and then disengage out with whatever upgrades they so desire?
Again, Surf Junkie taking a lot of damage there, so he is going to have to really focus on getting healed up before they, you know, make the next rotation or before they take another engagement, because you certainly do not want your duo's partner going down or falling to anyone at this stage of the game. That certainly can spell disaster. But we are going to take a look here at Serpent and Hype. We saw a little bit of their gameplay in the last game. They look as though they're playing very, very well together today. And you know, let's just see what they can pull out right now.
Yeah, so these were actually, so the last game we watched was their second to last game, and this was their final game of the evening. So that's kind of why it ended up being such a thinner lobby. It was a lot of the players trying to get through and use the last of the games, but Serpent and Hype saying, that's fine, we'll play it for a victory royale. And right now, inside the first placement threshold, already on 7 elims for this match. So that's 10 points so far coming out from this game. That's what we talk about when we say maximizing efficiency in every single one of your lobbies. If you're making it into the final placement threshold, getting a couple of those victory royales and getting elims as well, no, it makes it very difficult for everyone else in the lobby to even keep pace with you.
Yeah, and you know, that we've seen time and time again has worked out for so many players. You know, really just being very aggressive, just going full send. It doesn't matter what game you're in, that can always bode well. He does get the knockdown on oh my gosh, Surf Junkie and Evanix just fall to him completely, no chance. And we've seen them play very strong in the past, so that is very surprising. But Serpent does pick up the Rift to go and 2 extra Shadow Bombs. So now the tables have turned, so now he has got all of the mobility he needs.
They just have so much control over this lobby now with the high ground. They can see nobody else is even remotely close to it. There's the far side of the lobby. You will see Lunar and Alpha trying to put some shots on it. Prince Charming comes sailing in, but there was a Shadow Bomb directly in the box behind it. I don't know if Alpha realized that. Gets high ground taken away from him a second. Boxed in, no traps coming out. Does finally put one down, and Kaiser can't avoid the damage there. 15 health on it. Needs to throw the Chug Splash at his feet or get the edit out. One of the two has to happen very shortly. 15 HP, was able to get back up to the high ground. Is going to opt to just pop the minis and then go for the Chug Splashes.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it wouldn't have really mattered too much what he chose to do, because you are only getting 20 HP effectively from those Chug Splashes for each one that you throw down. He did wait for his partner to join him, though, because there is that area of effect with the Chug Splashes. You get 20 health, your teammate gets 20 health, so not everybody gets 20 health.
Well, that's tend to be why you see it more run in duos, but also just love having shields all over the place. But now Serpent and Hype going aggro, and we've seen it putting the dual combat shotguns to work, focusing on that with the loadout and making sure they're shooting together. But right now, Serpent has been chipped out a little bit. However, they're into the top 10 in terms of the team. So 5 placement points been picked up so far, and look at that. Prince Charming gets taken down. No fairy tale ending for you there. It's just back to the lobby, and considering this is the last match, that's the end of your World Cup run, as Serpent and Hype able to clean that up. There's another one going over, up to 12 in all the resources from it, and they saw that Shadow Form player. Look at him just running.
What is happening? Sundown. He was just, you know what, I think at that point he was just trying to do whatever he could to stay alive. Unfortunately, Hype and Serpent met him there, but Serpent does actually go down, and he is going to fall to the storm. It is going to be completely up to Hype now to carry the rest of this game. Each of them having 7 eliminations, sitting at 125 points. Do you think he's going to be able to pull out the victory royale? We're going to have to find out.
Now, They are on the 14 elims, has the proximity launcher. That's 70 on both of them right there. Will get the AoE, gets the 70 again, so he knows that player is on 40. Drops down, he finds Ices, catches himself with the waterfall as he drops. Will pick that up. Siphon comes over too. Will he be able to get enough mats? He's sitting on 3, 2, now out of materials. It's a 2v2, v1, v1. Edit comes out, needs to pick up this elim. Storm isn't his favorite player. Comes himself with metal. Edit goes forward. Uncle Andy, say goodnight. Nothing left for you there. Hype finds the shot right there. Gets a good 80+ tick. Can he find another one as he's trying to do all of the work by himself right now? Serpent's been taken down. He's sitting on 9 elims, getting some help from the high ground. 73 with the first shot, getting walled out. Needs to find a way back in the zone, and he does. Lupius goes down 1, 2. Can he find the third? Needs to get the conversion over, and he does. Lupius goes down. It's a 2v1. Can he find it?
Oh, no.
Alpha Barbucks cleans it up, but second place and 15+ elims coming out from there. Good effort from Lunar and Barbucks, but Hype and Serpent showing why they got that top spot. It was really well played.
Unbelievable, the decision making and mechanically how gifted you have to be able to drop down, waterfall down, pull out your shotgun, and catch yourself so quick. Cat-like reflexes. Too bad Kitty Flays isn't here to comment on those.
And making sure that it was the player he had ticked twice with that proximity grenade. While it only being 70 damage, it's basically guaranteed if the player isn't boxed themselves up. But now we're going to hop on over to the Asia region while we see what was up with the Trigger QQ boys of the Vietnamese region, or the Vietnam country, playing on the Asia region. Apologies there, as we're on board here with Ricky and Joyza. Some good shots coming out from that tactical assault rifle so far. 12 duos remaining, 23 players left as we're in the half in, half out.
Yeah, and we are seeing a little bit of a trend here so far with these games, Sundown. You know, not very many players left alive, but I think it's a great change of pace, and you can really see how the players adapt their play style to kind of, you know, counteract the fact that there aren't going to be very many people in the lobby. Ricky just taking down Seal completely as he was trying to rotate and use the launch pad to get out of there. So good on him with that elimination. That will be his first one of the game. His partner, Jazia, is sitting on 2. They are going to use the stinks to actually try to pressure this player above them, see if they can get him to come down, but he just gets out of there and says, you know what? That one stunk. I'm not interested.
Yeah, Cushy having no reason to do that. And you also noticed that Joyza threw the stink directly on top of Ricky while he was pressuring. No friendly fire going on there. As you can see, Hooten and Peach on the low ground, but there's the qualifiers, Flame and Unique over on the side. And one thing I went through and ended up reviewing a lot of their matches, they had some hairy situations early, but pretty much every single early game, they got completely uncontested Dusty Divot and walked out with just max everything. Like, it was nuts and just getting a ton of rotation, but right here you can see right now, sitting on 2 elims, have a decent amount of loot, good amount of mats, and prime area on the zone. So convert that into one onto Theo, getting a good knock with the help of the Storm, up to 66 points as we're inside that placement threshold number 2, top 10 ticking over.
And I feel like Dusty Divot is actually one of those points of interest where you can drop and get a ton of resources, all the trees being there. You know, some would argue that, you know, you're at a bit of a disadvantage because you are essentially, you know, not to pun, but you are in a divot. But you know what? If you can use those trees for cover, that whole area completely uncontested and for yourselves, you are going to come out of there sitting pretty. So we are taking a look here. They are rotating over. We'll see how he builds up here, if he tries to take high ground, or it looks like he might actually be making a play for that.
Yeah, he was looking to find it over on the side, but instead just opted to box himself up, realizes he has the RPG and wants to start sending everyone cascading down, but opts not to fire it. So interesting decision there. I actually thought he would have sent it down. Instead, turns towards the player underneath him, and him and Ricky are going to try and isolate that player in order to convert it into an elim. Now he's going to look skyward. I figure he would want to reset that before they got too established. Nope. Instead, he's going to say, my high ground now. Perfectly timed launch pad to get it right at that maximum deploy height. And now, all of a sudden, Joyza and Ricky on the high ground with a whole bunch of resources.
And 12 rockets in their RPG. We've seen this time and time again. Explosives are extremely strong, but they are even stronger when they are raining down on players from ultimate high ground. These players do not have to worry at all about anything that is happening above or below them. They need to be looking up at Jazia and his teammate because they are actually going to go on a little bit of a tear here. Let's see if they can get any more eliminations. They've already picked up one, but you can see him. Jazia's ready. He's got that RPG out, Sundown.
He has it out. He's trying to make sure it's loaded. Stinks continue going up. That looks like it's his teammates since he's just walking through that. Does hit top 5 now. Ricky has taken a solid amount of damage, but continues tossing down Stinks towards the low ground, but he hasn't found anything with it. So far, they've only converted this into one, and Ricky actually got knocked flame all of a sudden. Flame and Unique picked up 2 there, and they're into the top 3 with a 2v1v1. Joyce on the high ground. Dorothy isolated in front of them. They're going to try and pinch. RPG comes down, but Joyce commits himself, falling down after the RPG, taking 80 plus damage. So now rifts himself up to the sky, but this is going to give Flame and Unique all of the pace, all of the pressure. Dorothy gets pushed down. Unique does get chipped out, so he needs to be careful. Joyce, recognizing this, knows he needs to go now before it's isolated, but there's the maximum deploy height. Might as well just be hanging out, flips his head, finally touches his feet, and gets blasted for it. Flame and Unique, we hopped on board with them. They had 2 elims. They converted into a 7 elim victory royale for 17 points, Spooky.
Very well done coming out of those 2. And Jazia made a little bit of a mistake there. He did miss that floor that was built out, but unfortunately for him, he didn't have much of a choice. He didn't have any mats left, so he had to rift. That was literally his only play. Fortunately, it didn't work out, but let's hop right into another game from the Asian servers. We are looking at the Trigger Boys again. They're sitting at 9 eliminations already this game. So, you know, let's kind of see if they're able to pull something off here.
And again, one thing I highly recommend if you have the ability to go back and watch these guys' VODs, because I know a lot of people, they like to talk about the zero ping wall takers and going somewhere else to play on. These are players playing from Southeast Asia, playing from Vietnam, being able to execute together, finding a strategy that works for them, team firing and coordinating. It was very impressive to watch. And there's honestly a couple of situations in the early and mid game where it felt like they really shouldn't have got out of, and they had really cool disengages. So highly recommend checking out these 2 players in particular if you want someone who might feel a little more accessible in terms of going over, and it's something that like, hey, I can do this, because I know there's sometimes when I watch VODs of like Benji Fishy or Clicks or Dubs, and it's like, well, I'm never gonna try that ever, so.
Never say never, believe in yourself.
Some of these kids, some of the guys going to the Fortnite World Cup final are infinitely better than I could ever hope to be mechanically, and honestly have shown why they are that good. Like, these guys are the best of the best and just do some mechanical stuff that hasn't been seen before. But that is not the only way to be successful in this game. There's plenty of paths in Fortnite Battle Royale to get there and to get to the top.
Yeah, I mean, you can be mechanically amazing. You know, you can have smart rotations. That's what I love about the Battle Royale genre as a whole. There's just so many different working parts. And I feel as though, you know, there are some duos that do some things really great and others that do other things even better. So that's why it's always so exciting to me to be spectating duos and being able to be here and casting these games, just so that you can see how these duos work together, how they play to their strengths. They are going to be taking, that one gets me every time. I had to quickly look down into the inventory there to make sure he had the redeploy. I was like, what are you doing, Unique? Please.
I still get a little bit of vertigo anytime. Even if I know they have it, it's just like I'm desperately afraid of heights. But we're into the top 10 now as Unique and Flame. Now you can see high utility. Again, 2-gun loadout, but using as much of the utility. And RRQ Hero Kappa just gets ripped. 4-shot out from under him, and they catch him before he even hits the ground. Up to 91 points so far from Unique and Flame, and just so well done.
Yeah, and you can see there, just, you know, they started shooting at the wall and then both immediately switched down to the floor. Smart plays coming out of them as always. Here we have Net. I'm going to take a stab at that name. I know that, thank goodness it's me casting here and not Zeke because...
he would have panicked and
Yeah.
probably fell out of his chair. But
Yeah,
now,
that-
Met taking shots from the high ground, looking down here, trying to find what he can. Gets GCBM, GGK with a perfectly placed rocket, and now he's going to look to punish that backside of the storm. That was the conversion over to the knock he'd already gotten, so nothing else to do in there. As Harukiyo trying to put shots out towards the rest of the lobby, they find Buddha Fishy. So Benji Fishy transcending regions now, all the way over in Asia. People trying to get that luck, but not going to be enough because the SP duo currently running up on the high ground onto 7 elims, looking for number 8 with that rocket. Got to be careful when you edit. However, Harukiyo goes down.
Yeah, he just completely dropped down there, possibly to make it easier for his partner to possibly get him. But you know, it isn't going to matter because the zone is moving, so he is going to completely fall. Here we have the trigger boys. My apologies. It's only Unique still alive in this match. He has used a shadow bomb to position himself perfectly for the next rotation. Is building up, kind of taking mid ground at this point. There are only 7 players. Make that 6 left in this lobby, 5 duos. So this is almost a solo game at this point.
Yeah, and now he got the other duo knocked, so it is a straight-up solo game. If he can convert on that, it will go through, and he's into the top 5. So a huge play despite Flame going down. Conversion does go through, and he finds Kosa as well. So now straight-up solos. 9 elims on Unique. It's a 1v1, and this was for all the money. Unique wanted it to be enough. He was sitting there. This was their second to last game. They needed to clutch out. They needed every single point possible. And will he be able to find it? We're watching. He knows he has to save Bass. Hello.
He jumped the rocket.
What? Ridiculous.
He jumped the rocket.
It went up onto the low ground, just being a tile of the square away. Gets the first shot with the combat. Now he has the pressure. He finds the zone. He has to go forward though, because here's the change in elevation. He finds the first shot. Can he find the second? And he does. He finds it. 7 XP left. Gets the siphon to tick over. Unique puts it on his back. 24 points. 14 eliminations and the victory royale. Look at the fossil. Look at the plays. The Vietnamese duo doing it. They said, we don't need 0 ping. We don't need to take your walls. We'll do it with style. We'll do it with execution. And we'll do it with coordination. But now we're hopping over back into live games. This isn't stuff from last night or early this morning, depending on where you live. This is from Brazil. We're going all the way down to South America, and now on board with Nothing, No Name, and Clipnode. Clipnode, who actually grabbed the final solo qualification spot last week.
Yeah, congratulations to him. We saw him absolutely playing out of his mind. He 100% deserves that because Clipnode is somebody who, when we first started this whole journey with World Cup, I really wasn't sure who he was, but we've seen him time and time again be extremely consistent just with utilizing, all of the things that he's learned so far. To see him qualify last week, sneak that in. But now he's here with Nothing, No Name, and they are certainly trying to make names for themselves today. Clipnode using that launch pad to rotate over. Tons of players left in this lobby, so things might get a little bit dicey for him. This terrain is going to be extremely difficult for these players to navigate. We see these 2 massive mountains in the middle here. The amount of high ground and materials they're going to need to come into play to make these rotations easy for everyone is going to be something to witness for sure.
I hate endgames over here.
I love them.
I don't do particularly well in those circumstances. Oh, hello! Great edits coming out from Clipnode. Gets the heavy snipe on the box across. Catches the hot potato grenade midway through. Hello, there's another one. Can he get over in the box? Great re-edit as well. If he didn't close it, would have taken damage there. But this is what a World Cup qualifier looks like. The individual plays to get away from that. And man, the guy with the grenade launcher on the low ground is just pinging them into those windows.
He's not missing a shot at all. I don't know if I would ever say that term with a grenade launcher. You're not missing shots, but you know, he was absolutely nailing those. Now, like you said, you don't like being over here, but this is what it's all about to me. Anybody can, not anybody, but it's much easier to be on very flat terrain, tunnel through. This is what I love to see. This brings out the actual skill sets of these players. It shows us, you know, how mechanically gifted they are, how much they've practiced, how much time they've put into doing scrims and doing arenas and just showing us why they're here, why they're trying to qualify, and hopefully get those spots to New York.
Yeah, and you do see that Storm Surge is on the right-hand side. What Storm Surge is if a certain number of players are alive and the lobby gets a little too active, the people who have been the most passive will be punished. But because we're down below 30 players, it's turned off and will no longer be active. We've now hit top 15 and we're into those first round of placement points. Now remember, top 15 is 3 points. If you're able to get in the top 10, it nets you an additional 2 for 5. Top 5 gets you 2 more, and then the Victory Royale is 3 for a total of 10. And generally, if you're qualifying for the World Cup, you're looking for a 50-50 split. You need high placements and you need high eliminations. The balanced approach is what gets you there. As you can see right now, Clip noted, nothing, no name. 11 eliminations so far in closing in on top 10.
And they get rifted up into the sky there. That definitely was not Clipnode's. I don't believe it was Nothing No Means either. That would have been a completely other player trying to get out of a little bit of a sticky situation there by using the rift. You can see No Name landing on the high ground, utilizing that community launch pad to pull himself back over to his teammate because they did get separated for a short moment there. Clipnode has actually used the launch pad as well. Or was still up in the air, but it isn't going to matter. He goes down. Unfortunately, lands in the box of another player. Missed is missed, takes him out.
Right, but Nothing No Name was directly underneath it and edited him down in between. He's gonna try and stick this revive, and he does. He got it. Can they edit back over? They got the next box. He's on sub 30 HP, and he gets back in. He has 10 HP. Will they be able to find anything? Player behind. Clipnote goes back down. Can he find it? No. Gets picked up, but they got the top 10. So 12 elim points plus the 5 going through. 17-point performance from Clipnote and Nothing No Name, but they're not going to be a factor in the rest of the lobby. You have Solinho and Seko on the low ground. Matakuski and Ernie just above them with Falls and Ducky 1 tarp above. Solinho does have 1 more chug splash and could use it potentially, but wants to hold off. Waiting for top 5 for the next threshold as W Key Edit picks up Obi, and we get closer and closer. Lua gets ticked over, and now we have 7 duos remaining. Solinho just taking a little bit of a breather, swapping up on their mats while all the action happens above him. Esteban picks up Ducky, and we close in on the top 5. Trap arms and goes off above, but no elimination. Ticks over as the Soccer Skins continue to look. Poised Playmaker wants to make a play, but they also want top 5, constantly checking their sides, realizing they're okay right now. And I mean, man, they're running low on mats.
They are running low on mats, but they do own all of this. So hopefully, you know, they're going to be able to utilize that to their advantage. Edit down just like that. He takes out Expert. You know, that is the advantage of having all of those builds to yourself. You completely dominate the mid and low ground with edits when you have that. Ernie going down, falling to Soul. Soul gets another shot, 98 with a combat shotgun. It isn't going to be enough. Can his teammate follow out? Seago's out in the storm, but does come back in. Seago's sitting on very little HP, about 50 effective HP to his name right now, and they have to play low ground right now because they don't have a choice.
It's a 2v2. You have MST and his partner Esteban in the top right. Seko in the bottom right with Solinho. Everything else on the Y. Solinho looking for the angle. Player drops out into the side. This MAST going for it, but Seko gets the first knock. The flint knock is off into the sky. The fall damage. Hello. Can he catch himself and get back into the zone? Will it be enough? Solinho's tracking him in. No, it's not enough. Solinho picks up the double, throws a nice little pumpernickel, then into the iconic or break it down. Let him know. Throw a hootenanny in there as well, and a great finish. And also, Pookie, I got to give you a shout out right there. The way you called just the edit down and the fact how he was looking for it and then it happened immediately after. I just, in my head, I'm like, man, they're burning so many of their builds. Like, this seems like a waste, but just spot on with that right there. So hats off to you. Nice little clap. Well done.
Thank you. Don't let my ego get too big, Sundown, you know, or else I'm not going to be able to fit through the door later.
I live with Zeke. I'm an expert at knocking people down a peg.
Perfect. Can't wait for this game for you to say something to just completely catch me off guard. But here we are in another match. We're looking at King and Zone. They hit that snipe. You guys know how much I love seeing those heavy snipe shots. They're my absolute favorite. This is what I have come here to see today. Give me the snipe shots all day, Cam.
Oh, it's both the best and the worst feeling. Like, yes, it feels great when you get it, but at the same time, when you're just rotating around, you're hanging out in your box and you feel like, hey, maybe I got my 1 layer, I can peek on a side, then all of a sudden, boom, boom. Or like you're jumping all the way around your 360, you're checking your side, and you just get your face ripped off. And You know, it feels awful. And even sometimes you're launch padding going through and somebody hits that shot. That feels great for them. The player who jump padded over, not so much. But King and X-Zone trying to make the plays. King actually recently getting signed to that 9Z team going over. Originally was King, I will not lose, has qualified for the solos portion. The young Argentinian doing everything he can to reach it in the duo side. Him and X-Zone have been so close.
Taking a few shots there, having them pay off. Still sitting on high ground though with the heavy sniper. Come on, King, give us another snipe shot, dude. But you see him here just looking for any kind of players that were trying to come out of the zone there and get to safety. He's not going to let it happen. He's saying, you know what? I'm king of the high ground here. I'm going to gatekeep you all day.
Yes, he's going to look towards the outside there. Not going to acknowledge the pun. It was a pretty good one. I'll give you that. As Lucky Boy and Luco Boy over on the side here. 7 elims as we're closing in on the first placement threshold. And honestly, shout outs to Brazil. They've stepped their level up every single week. Some of their qualification barriers actually ending up being higher than NA West in some of those circumstances in the duo week. So just a really high level of competition, and just the fact that it's pushed up every single week. You can see Storm Surge coming through there, and Lottie getting a great shot with the combat there. And that's what we talked about, kind of the difference of the timer, being able to just throw the combat out there, get the wall shot in, and then immediately swap back over it. So now he's going to try to go aggressive because he wants to convert on that.
And you can hear all of the shadow bombs going off behind. He's going to have to be very careful. He isn't built behind him. So there.
Yeah, and that was the double, is them trying to stick the revive. And at that point, man, you just got to let your teammate go.
Yeah.
Let him, you hang him out, you let your buddy and be like, hey, you know what, it's been a good run, but I'm going to go try and get those placement points. They fell outside of the top 15, so it's huge because you waste, I don't want to say waste all the time because you get whatever elim points, but not getting at least the 3 placement points from top 15, it hurts. It hurts the mental game, it hurts your score, it hurts your efficiency in terms of getting the points, as now we're on board with Barboisa, Lee, Golden Boy's favorite, as him and Zodi Boy are trying to make a run at it, currently sitting on 5, make it 6 elims and 33 points and a great loadout.
Yeah, and he just completely obliterated Les there. So Lee takes out Les. That's a good one. That's an interesting one for later. But he does throw the stink bomb down. Now, we've seen time and time again those being extremely strong. And Zate just gets completely annihilated. Lee now opting to utilize the shadow bomb, says hello to the baller to his right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen. But then uses the small amount of high ground down there to maybe get any kind of eliminations on people coming into the zone.
Yeah, so if you sneak up on a baller near the outside of the zone and you're in like a late game storm, pickaxe it once and then immediately shoot it out. It'll send them flying out into the zone and you'll get elim credit. Boom, there you go, there's the strat.
Wow, look at these mad strats coming out of Sundown today.
Check Creo's VODs, he does it all the time and it's hysterical because it's one of the consistently easy ways to get elims on players who don't react, because if they don't instantly throw down the grapple and boost forward, they're gone. Because
I need you to coach me here.
I mean, you can watch the broadcasts and stuff. I drop hints and knowledge like this. It's called the Sundown Rundown or Sit Down with Sundown, whichever one you want. Maybe someday I'll get the leeway to do my super serious serial Sunday with Sundown, but I
that is a lot of alliteration there.
Oh, trust me, it's Fortnite. It's all alliterative. But we're getting closer now to that top 5. 11 elims so far from King and X-Zone. X-Zone saying, I will not lose. I want to be on that stage with my buddy King, and King being one of those young prodigies out of the SA region, along with Nyx, doing everything they can from this low ground. How well can they execute and get around the side? Lottie Boy picks up Gozer there and continues his run forward, knowing it'll be ticked over, but King trades him right back, just inside, or just outside the top 5. You can see him wall off the player and want to stick with the zone as it's running out. 10 players remaining, 6 duos left right now as they look for the space. Gozer does finally tick over, but Lottie had been eliminated and Clement didn't 90 fast enough there. Couldn't cover himself. 13th elim. King has 11 of them as him and X-Zone are working down the tarp, but Barboisa is trying to do everything he can as he frags himself into the top 5, picking up a double. You have Bravo in your top right and King in the bottom right as he gets another one onto Tade. They're the only duo left in the bottom right. Barboisa gets Franz. Will he tick over? No, Bravo takes it up, and we have a 2v1 with double campfires on the low ground. Heavy snipers as well. Knock Bravo down. This is one of the top duos. This is a team to keep an eye on. King and X-Zone, 43 points with the victory royale. 25 from that match, Pookie?
Yeah, coming out with 15 eliminations between the two of them. Now, you've said it so many times, you know, getting the placement and getting the eliminations are so important in these games to make sure that you are hitting top of the leaderboard every single week, and we just saw a perfect example of it coming out from those guys right there. Congratulations to them. We can see here for the Brazil games, we only have about 40 minutes remaining, so these games are going to be some of the last ones for these guys, depending on how long they are able to survive. Each match going approximately 20 minutes, so you need to plan your time accordingly and make sure that you are getting the most out of these games, because time and time again, we've seen it come down to just a few points, so every point matters.
I mean, we've seen it very frequently coming down to less than a few points. Like, we've gone... I think we've gone 2 tiebreakers deep at some point. I think the most we've had to go on is 3 once. I might have to double check that. I know Creo went 2 deep on his when he ended up advancing. But one thing I do want to talk about is kind of the mentality about playing for late. It's something that you've heard all the time in the Fortnite community, but a lot of people don't really understand. Like, there's a big proponent around the idea of W keying or playing aggressive, and taking early aggressive fights when you can gun race and you know you have an advantage. For instance, if you pick up a combat early, or if you pick up a legendary AR at range, or even a green AR before somebody is able to get set and really get a ton of mats, you can pressure somebody and you can go full send and you can go aggro and you can create an advantage for yourself. But in the general run of the game, taking an even fight against players who are roughly as skilled as you or even slightly less, they're going to be able to chip you out. And most players are going to be able to at least delay you or make it worth their time unless you're significantly better than you, right? So then if you end up being able to be a little more passive, playing a little safer, working around the outside, being more deliberate in how you rotate and get to places, this is called playing for late. Because then you get in these circumstances where you have all the mats, you have the resources, and you're in a more chaotic environment, but you're not knocked out way before taking a 50-50 fight, and all of a sudden we've seen the number of times you win 1 key engagement on the low ground or 1 key engagement on the mid ground, and all of a sudden you take high ground away, or 1 turns into 3 or 4. But you don't get those opportunities if you don't make it to late game.
Exactly. I could not have said that better myself. You know, the thing is too, is early game, you never know what the other player is going to have that you're going up against. You know, you might feel that you're sitting pretty and you've got a great loader. You're like, you know what, I got this combat shotgun, I'm just going to rush. The other guy could be sitting there with an RPG. You haven't shielded up. You're back to the lobby, Sundown. So, you know, not knowing what the other players have is always, you know, that component of the game that can really actually help or hurt you.
And look, right now, as Andrea and Troy has some great gatekeeping on the side, keeping those players who are trying to rotate with their backs at the storm from entering it, up to 9 elimination now as bot 6 does tick over, and you can see you use your utility, you get as far over as you can, and then you box up and you turn. The combats and the ARs being the primary benefactors right now from what we've seen today in the meta, and then going triple utility out of there. Andrea not getting the chip there, unfortunately, got a ton of damage, but no elim credit, is going to pick up all of those resources and tops off with a lot of wood and metal.
Yeah, and we have seen time and time again today, you know, just with how many utility items players are carrying, because the utility items in this game right now are so strong. We did just hit the top 15 threshold. A couple more teams go down so quickly Sunday. We're about to hit that top 10.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm a huge fan right now of the 9.30 loot pool. Just seeing more utility and more shields being opened up for players has kind of enabled them. And then with the adjustments, we've seen players rocking multiple gun loadouts, but we've also seen players going straight for the utility phase. The chug splash is offering a lot there, but some nades coming out, trying to get the chip in. They snuck one in, but good coverage as we now hit the top 10, so 5 place of points for everyone in here. So far, this is a 16-point game for Andrea and Troya.
And he is going to take a moment here, hopefully, he looked like he was going to cone himself in there and try to use the minis, but he isn't unfortunately going to have time. The storm is right at his back, and he is dealing with a player in front of him that he is using all of his builds for here to kind of take cover from. He's only got 21 builds remaining. He is above Loot Lake, so that adds a whole nother level. And unfortunately, Troya does actually go down to the player that they were tracking earlier, and Andrea actually doesn't know where these shots are coming from. He's getting shot from everywhere at this point. He's being focused. He does end up taking a player out to get that siphon down to 29 effective health. It isn't going to be enough. Tried to use that launch pad to get out, but unfortunately he falls.
Yeah, and it was Santidet who picked him up there, and he's on the mid-tarp. Easy for Black Ops and got picked up, as well as DK. So this is a ton of Brazil's top players, but Santidet goes down, and we have our top 3. Now, top 2. It's a 2v2 with Nehu and Ziox up on the high ground, the other team working the low ground. They have the tarp in between as well. They know that they're in the box on the side. They're looking for him. They have marks towards him. They know the players are there. You can see the outlines in purple right now as the Sinisters is trying to get an angle on the side. Raja and Softy are working back around, but they need to be careful because here comes that change in elevation, and you can already see Zukex trying to knock down the tree, preventing no cover. Raja has absolutely no builds. He always going to try to hit the brick and get back up, and he can't. That's the little change in elevation we talked about. Softy gets taken down, and Zukex picks that one up. Flintknock does get picked up. He's on an all-weapon loadout. Nothing left. And Zukex finds it there, brilliantly done, pushing them up to 35 points after an 18-pointer. Just well done there. But we're going to send it back over to the studio with Zeke and Bala, I think.
How rude of you. You know Bala. He's the best ever. Don't yell at me. Gosh. All right, Fortnite fan. We've had an incredible day of games so far. But now we're going to take things just a little bit slow here before our 30-minute break here. We've obviously got to take a look at Oceania, Asia, and that live looking at Brazil. But very quickly, we actually have a little bit of a treat. We're going to be able to chat with Klusha and Thomas HD, who qualified. So, gentlemen, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yes.
What's up, guys? What's up? How are you guys doing?
We are so happy, dude.
Yeah, you guys are so happy? Okay, all right, let's start with Klusha. Tell me the feels,
What's
right?
up?
You see your name up on that leaderboard. What is the very first thing that you did?
We just moves and got a lot of points. Just casual, like other days, dude.
Okay, okay. What about you, Thomas? What was the first thing you did? As soon as you saw you qualified, what was the first thing?
I was just shaking the whole time. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, okay, okay, all right. So this is kind of a big moment for both of you guys. You know, you've worked so hard for these last 10 weeks of competition. What does it feel like for you guys to finally say, look, all that hard work, that time we've put into Fortnite, it's paying off. We're going to the finals. And how does your family, like, have you told your family, do they kind of understand, you know, what that feels like? We'll start with Thomas.
My family is cool about it, and we're all happy. So I think it's just, I'm so happy, and we're happy.
Yeah, for sure. Klusha, what about you, my man?
What did you say? What was the question?
So for you guys to have worked so hard for 10 weeks to finally get that spot, qualify for New York, and then does your family kind of know what's going on? Do they kind of understand?
Yeah, they do. I qualified in week 5 for solos, so that's when they kind of understood how serious it is.
Yeah.
Like.
And to double up now, I mean, that's crazy. What an accomplishment, right? The double qualification is insane. It's only a few of you guys, right? But talk to me about learning throughout the 10 weeks. I mean, we've played 5 duos competition now, and the clutch up in the last one is pretty crazy. But learning about not only how to play these types of tournaments, these open qualifiers, and timing. I mean, in that last match, we saw you know, it was a little bit of a lobby, but obviously with that kind of, when you play out those light lobbies, you end up not having an opportunity to play again. So was that the strategy? Was that you trying to get into one of those lobbies?
No, we were actually trying to get into a game after the last game. We had 2 minutes of queuing, but we didn't make into a game, so
just
kind of unlucky.
Sweat.
But yeah,
we were
sat there sweating for the last 20 minutes to make the leaderboards update.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, guys, massive congrats. We cannot wait to see you guys
Thank you,
at the New York City Finals. Very quickly, what we'd like to do is open the floor. You guys to get some shout-outs, send out some love, plug your Twitters, your socials, all that stuff. Thomas, let's start your way, and then we'll go to Klusha.
Shout out to Monkeyface for bringing us together.
Any social plugs?
Thomas HD on Twitter.
Thomas HD on Twitter. Man, a few words. I like that. Klusha, let's send it your way. Shout outs, social plugs, thank yous, all of it.
Yeah, I want to shout out Kasernen. It's the Discord for the Danish guys. We're just hanging out in there. And I want to shout out my Twitch, Clusia and my Twitter. Clusia, by the way.
Clusia, by the way, there you go. Very easy to find these two. Again, guys, massive congrats.
Yeah.
We'll see you in New York City, and of course, we'll have to grab a slice of pizza.
Bye, guys. Congrats.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye,
We'll
thank
catch
you
you
so much.
later. And there you go. We get to talk with Clusia and Thomas. A little bit of insight there. You know, that you could tell they're just so excited to have qualified. Again, all that 10 weeks of prep work. You know, you can really tell that they've grinded. You know, they've poured their heart and soul into the game. And for them, it paid out.
And double qualification, too, is unreal.
Yep.
And over 10 weeks now, they get to, you know, take a little bit of a breather, a little bit, because, you know, they're going to hop right back on that grind ahead of July. It's going to be crazy.
For sure. Now, very quickly, before we go, there was a little bit of a mix-up, so really quickly we wanted to show correct standings for OCE prizing and Asia prizing. So this is actually, don't forget, Serpent and Hype are the ones that have made it through from OCE, and the prizing there is on the right side. Just a little bit of a mix-up there on the numbers. And then very quickly, we'll hop on over to Asia's, take a look there as well. Again, the players going through are correct. It was just a little bit of a typo there. A little bit of a mix-up. Things happen, you know. But of course, Fortnite fan, we thank you guys so much for hanging out. Again, if there's people that have qualified that you are unfamiliar with, just send them a follow, send them some love. They've worked so hard, and now they can say they've punched a ticket to the finals in New York City. But Bala, of course, we got to go to the 30-minute break. We got to get some food, all right? And then, of course, when we come back, we've got NA East up on deck. So don't go too far, Fortnite fam. We'll see you guys in 30 minutes.
Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some numbs. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos royale with brunch. Red juices a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some numbs. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your squad some numbs.
What's up, Fortnite fam? Sundown here, and today we are going to talk about the tactical assault rifle and its addition to competitive play.
The tactical assault rifle is probably one of the best additions to the game. It's a long-range weapon where you could save AR ammo if you have a drum gun.
Small bullet you can find everywhere, so it's a good weapon.
The tactical AR is an uncommon, epic, and legendary weapon that utilizes light ammunition and has a high rate of fire. It does 22, 23, or 24 damage depending on rarity, has a pretty fast first shot accuracy timer, and a dope reloading animation. I mean, come on. Just look at it. We've seen a lot of competitive players opt into using the tactical assault rifle over the course of the Fortnite World Cup online open qualifiers. So let's hear from some of the players who qualified for the finals and get their thoughts on the TAC AR's addition to the game.
It's really good. Like really, really good. Once you get to endgame scenarios like 5th zone and beyond, it absolutely beams. It's very, very viable in meta right now. Everybody's been using it.
I like it because you could actually sneak up on someone. It has this low sound, so it's hard to hear.
It has its viability due to its first shot accuracy that can make it really strong, and the fall off damage isn't as strong as it was for the silent SMG, which got vaulted.
I reckon the gun's awesome for endgame because if you've got height, that gun can really get a lot of eliminations because it's like a laser, and people endgame tend to have less HP than they would towards the early and mid game. So I think it's really strong in situations.
Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on the tactical assault rifle, and when do you like to use it? Send us your opinions using the hashtag Fortnite World Cup, and I'll see you on the battle bus, or maybe on the high ground with a TAC AR.
What's up, Fortnite fam?
Today, we're going to be playing for $3 million for charity, folks, and it is going to be an incredible time.
50 of your favorite Fortnite personalities will be paired up with 50 celebrities put on this fantastic stage.
It's going to be awesome. It's duos, so we've seen it before at the Pro-Am last year, and it's always a blast. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
That's one to get followed up because he desperately needs materials. A player behind, two to the face. Look at this, he's just waiting for a full send. It's Symphony. He shuts him down. It's a 1v1. Who is the other player that's left? Oh! Here it is. He's gonna go with the X. Oh! Airwalks.
Wow. Dude, that was aggressive. Look at him go here. Just beating down players. No weapons. Doesn't even need them.
Wants this. Look at this. Aiden's just supplying pressure. Oh! Tries to go to the high ground. This might have been a mistake.
Typical gamer! Final game. Typical gamer pops up behind Janina. Oh, the rage! At this point in time, not looking the best when it comes to the... Oh, no!
Final moments, Golden Boy.
This is it right here, the 1v1. It's going to be Aiden going up against Symphony, pushing forward, forcing the activity. Oh! Symphony with the victory royale! Your winner of the second Fortnite Pro-Am is RL Grime and Wow!
I'm a big fan of competitive Fortnite and watching it, so this has been really cool to be involved with.
That was easy, actually.
Easy peasy.
will be the final beasts out of the East? Who will join Dubs and Mega, Cease and Elevate, and Zate and Saf out of this packed region? Ghost Demo and Bizzle have come so close, with just a single Shadow Bomb rotation being the difference between their trip to the final as a duo or not so far. Can they clutch up in the final week and put their high execution style strategy to work? And the question everyone wants answered: can Tfue and Cloaksy or Ninja in Reverse make it to the Fortnite World Cup final? Both have come so incredibly close in different duo weeks, and both have the eyes of everyone in the Fortnite and gaming world on them. Will these Titans move on, or will someone else rise above them in the final moments?
What's going on, Fortnite fam? We are back, and welcome to continued coverage of Fortnite World Cup Online Open Qualifiers. We're hanging out with our best friend Sundown, who's getting that real deep. Very proud of you there. Anyway, Fortnite fam, welcome. Let's go ahead and refresh your memory. All right, and we know we've been gone for a little while. All right, so let's get the memory going. All right, we'll start with the schedule. Don't forget, Oceania and Asia have already concluded. Europe as well as done. We're hopping into NA East games in here in just a moment, and we'll wrap the day later on with NA West. Don't forget, we also pushed everything back 1 hour, so that's why those times might look a little new. Now, of course, we are back to duo competition, which means top 15, top 10, and of course, placement spot on the board will be doubled. Do not forget about that. That is huge. Now, of course, guys, a $2 million prize pool is pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool, but what's more important are those qualifying spots. Four were up for grabs in Europe, 3 in NA East, 1 in West, 1 in Asia, Brazil, Oceania, of course. I mean, we've seen quite a bit of Fortnite action today, and I mean, it's just going to continue getting better. Don't forget, we're hopping into NA East here in just a moment. But first, we kind of touched on it before this last little break. We got a new competitive Twitter, FN Fortnite. Is that what it is? FN Competitive.
Fortnite is a good one. FN Competitive, F Monster with
FN Fortnite.
Check out the medias. It's where we're going to be posting a ton of stuff in terms of competitive, whether it's highlights, polls, tips and trick, VOD reviews, creator content, whatever you are looking for in terms of the creative side, competitive side.
I got
you. Will be on there.
Affected
FN Competitive, you can check it out right there. But as Zeke said, 5 more spots are up for grabs. We hopped into Brazil a little bit before the break. They'll be wrapping it up. We'll have those final standings in a bit, but now we're going to jump into NA East, where 3 of the last 5 spots are up for grabs, and let's take a look at where the standings have shaken out so far. So first, only 2 or max 3 games have been played so far, but Slacks and Keys up top, 38 in the spread. We always talk about it, 9 points so far separating. So that's a decent buffer after your first 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with already a victory under the belt, it's got to feel really, really good. But don't forget, we're still just kind of beginning games out. We're still feeling these games out. It is finals day, the final chance to punch your ticket to the finals in New York City. So I would expect to see the standings shift, especially if a group or two has like a really standout game. You know, we're talking a 20-point game. We could see this shift dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, a 20-point game would definitely shake it up. But to be said, like, that was a lot of players in NA East who we've seen a lot of. 72 Hours in Vivid. You had Naga Ops and Kenneth up there, Z-Laner and his partner. So it's no strangers to the top 10, and they're going to look to keep that pace up there. Aircool, also shout out to him. So a lot of those previous Summer Skirmish veterans showing up in Week 10.
That's right. Everyone is putting everything on the line to try and punch their ticket to the finals. But now, Fortnite fam, we're not going to keep you up too much longer. Let's get ready to hop into some games. Remember, we have a new person joining us. That is Shia Wager, and we have Bala TW to get us through all these games. Gentlemen, please, after you.
Thank you so much, Zeke and Sundown. I appreciate it, and I just cannot wait to get in these games. Shia, I'm excited to cast with you for the first time. It's going to be great, the VOD review duo coming in. But you know what else I'm more excited for? We are getting into some NA East games, and there's so many names who have yet to qualify, Shia.
All the big names, Cloaksy, Tfue. We've got Tom at the top with Vivid right now. It's going to be a dope time experience that you don't want to miss. I want to get right to it, Bala.
Yeah, let's get into it. The games are ready. Let's go right now into the first couple of NA East games. I mean, Shio, these Vivid, Tom, I mean, Tfue, Cloak, Bizzle, Demo. There's way too many names to list that could still qualify. There's only 3 spots to grab them.
A lot of people, and the hole's really small to fit in through, so we'll see getting right into it with Ghost Assault, going to be going up towards a mid-ground layer, about the 5th zone, just locking in a very prime position as well on the zone wall. He's going to be trying to get up in height just to see if he can have a better vantage point on everyone around him. We are in the snow biome, a lot of hills available, also a lot of different types of sight lines available for different duos in different layers of height.
Yeah, and this Assault and Innocence duo from Ghost, I mean, they have been probably actually one of the most consistent duos throughout NA East and throughout the World Cup overall. Both controller players, both, you know, part of that controller gang and crowd that people are looking to have one at least full duo qualify. Still, it hasn't happened yet.
Absolutely. Right now, it just looks like they're going to be playing safe. These guys are up in the top 10 of the leaderboard. They're going to make sure they want to replicate those results they've had in these first 2 games. We talk about the way you play games now. It's been 10 weeks. It is duos as well, so there's more brains at your strategy. A big double heavy snipe coming in. Not sure if, yeah, it was both duos synchronizing that at the same time. Sometimes you can pick up on a heavy snipe that's coming off from across the server as well. A lot of action going on now. Vertical sight lines coming through. Some desynchronization on that floor placement there. We're going to see what they can do as we go to a big aerial shot of the entire snow biome at the moment.
And yeah, talk to me, Shio, about the mobility that these players are all starting to use. We're about to come up onto that, you know, that 6th zone waiting period before it starts moving. But everybody's trying to make their plans and even getting some double heavy snipers in. We already saw one tick through, and now Painful goes down. His teammate Tyler's trying to get away, and I think he is going to manage to do that, but not before Assault and Innocence grab from those spoils.
You talk about the mobility. That was the priority there from Assault getting in, just picking up that jump pad as well as topping off his smokes all the way up to 6. Very smart stuff in and out, making sure he doesn't get too much pressure from other duos as everyone looks for those free loot piles near the end of the game. Now we have Fernando on a mid-ground layer as well. Erupt Slades is here as well. We'll see what he can do. Vols and Slades might be using 2 different names amongst each other. All these players switching up their names. 2 Chens going down as they hold up the Stormline pressure from their mid-ground tarped layer. A lot of chunk splashes available from this duo as well. Now using Stinks. We'll see if they can play off of them or look for another angle. Going to be pushing towards Germ goes down from that Stink. Unfortunate there. They're going to be on a low ground layer, though they're going to have to move up at any moment here before the action starts seeping in from zone 6.
Oh, and unfortunately they're split heavily as we go up over Polar Peak. That launch pad's not going to get him all the way up, but you can see Keo and Imshoots right now using those shadow bombs to full effect to get up the mountain. Keo unfortunately falling down and taking a little bit of storm damage, and I think that's going to be the end of him. Yes, he does fall down, and the rest of these players also trying to do it. I mean, I just saw probably 3 duos total go down right now. Devious and Frosty, Wildo and his duo as well. That's crazy.
They call Polar Peak the great filter of the Fortnite competitive scene, as it's always about, do you have that rotation, do you have the mobility, or do you have the smarts to get up with your mats? Not only that, where do you base up after that on shambles or not? We see Niddle also on the top 5 at the moment with his duo Casker, sitting not at that much white health, but that Siphon can click in, especially off of sitting in that ball, looking for that opportune moment to get the guaranteed damage and elimination to make sure he stays on top for those 8th and 9th zone big pop-off moments.
See, almost taking those opportunities out of the baller right there as a couple players rotated directly in front of him, but for now, just outlasting the rest of the server. And hey, that's a good strategy, especially, you know, with these, look how many ballers there are right now, and they are having a good time on Polar Peak because they can climb and fall as fast as they want, no matter what, with those grapplers.
Absolutely. You talk about insurance as well. It's awesome when there's a lot of people moving around and maybe 1 or 2 ballers, but when you have so many ballers together, you talk about the insurance behind that mobility. Niddle, the Riftigo, now going to get out. Big shots coming in. Karos going down, in and out of there. A nice burger combo coming in as Niddle now goes all the way down. The mountain going to go back up if it does bounce back. Yes, it does. Moving back towards this huge high ground tarp layer. A lot of other natural ground to be mimicked and manipulated towards as well as they move up through this.
Puffin got chunked all the way down to what looks like one there, and then I think they did end up cleaning up, but no, Casker still having height, but Assault way down below. There is so much of a height difference here. Assault could capitalize if he just looks right back in his zone and knocks out either one of these teams. I believe they're going down as Casker takes out Top Gun, and then all the way down, he does have that redeploy, so it's now Assault versus Puffin, and the rift up from the top. Casker is coming straight down. Assault is going to take care of Puffin as he was low HP, and now in the zone. Casker looking to find exactly where he needs to go. He's going to get 1 or 2 layers above Assault. Assault slowing the pace down a little bit. He still has a lot of materials to work with, and we're getting down to those final seconds of this zone. Casker versus Assault. Here comes the ramp out into the zone. He does get a shot. Now it's Assault with the HP advantage, but
Big
no!
flicks.
Casker with the flick shot onto Assault. He's going to take that game by himself as Niddle combines with him to 8 elimination and 18 points in that game.
Amazing control of knowing when to drop down, when to stay up. Casker playing that insurance. We talked about it with balls, but even as a duo, being sure you're split up and covering for each other's losses will always net you that win at the end.
And I'm already just giggling to myself right here because Tim the Tatman and Wildcat is the first players we're going to be hopping in with on board. With them 1 point in this game, this could be one of their first couple.
One big topic in the Fortnite community as well is the content creators versus the competitive players and their success in getting games done, getting those qualifying spots secured. Blue damage coming out from Tim. Can he see that the individual that he was shooting at, Remdog, is going to have a weakness on his left side wall? He's going to go for that blue, but it's not enough. Not enough dynamic building. In a bad position, he gets beamed down, but the pressure's still coming in from Tim as he bobs down on metal tarps with his duo Wildcat. These guys are going to be showing everyone else that, hey, even though I stream Fortnite for fun a lot of the time throughout the day and make dope content, I can hang out with the big dogs as well and pop off when the moment's right.
Hey, they were both at that Pro-Am, and here they're perfectly executing a pinch as they get shot a little bit, but I think they still have it. Yes, Wildcat's going to take down that player, and Tim's going to get the finish.
Doing that classic animal aspect, right wall, left wall, showdown there on that other duo that they just cleaned up in record time. Not sure where the other individual is, but it's just big pop-off moments.
So maybe they learned something at the Pro-Am, right?
Absolutely.
That high-pressure, high-stakes situation, they played on that stage that a lot of these players are vying and fighting to get on at the end of July.
Absolutely. Talk about high pressure. Now we're on high ground where the pressure is very different, as this is the moment where you have to capitalize, make sure you get as many eliminations and pick up your points where you can. Because it's not only about winning games, you have to be dynamic enough to pick up on advantages, get those elim points, get a nice 50-50 split on what you're doing. You can't just be complacent and play these games bopping and Ghost is lost. Up top shooting at, oh, never mind. Can they get that beam off the sky? Yes, they do, as he comes rocketing down to the ground, landing below. We'll see who picks up that loot in just a second. One smoke grenade left for Ghost, so not that much insurance as we talked about before, but we'll see if he can make his position. It is the best one on the server, right behind where the storm is going to be rotating to, and we'll see if he can pop off from that moment as well.
So here now, 6 zone starting to move. You said it was the best position possible in the server, and I just have to wonder, why is that Shio? I mean, they have the high ground, and their back is... What's going on here with Ghost and Boppin?
So in this position, as you can see, they get a nice theater widescreen 16:9 native view on the entire rest of the map, moving straight towards them. And they don't have to use as many mats at all. People can rotate below them. They can follow tarps. They just are allowed to do anything they want on their own pace when you have height right behind the storm. It makes it so that the storm moves onto you. You control the pace of the game. But if you do tunnel vision like they are now, sometimes you get left behind on the storm. Snaz FN, this aim is ridiculous, as 2 people have now been beamed. 6 eliminations across both individuals who are still maintaining height, which is a very difficult feat from the 5th zone all the way to the end. We'll see if it's possible. Now Waterfall's coming down. It's very, very hard to have that mat management and be able to still move forward, moving zone to moving zone, as the distances are so far. At this moment, though, we see them utilizing just 1 tarp layers. Hold her hand getting knocked by Ghost. Swervo on the low ground as well, doing a lot of work, seeing if he can survive and get up top. As look at this big view of the map moving forward, all metal.
And Wildcat's still up in this game, so he's, you know, pushing towards those placement points and earning them as we speak right now. Moving closer to that top 10, Boppin and Ghost up on high ground. We've seen them time and time again find these opportunities, find these picks. Not going to find that one, just barely, as he escapes from below him. Right now, again, tarping, being efficient with their materials. They're still lasting a little bit longer, but each time they get knocked out, they get reset. They have to refresh and figure out what they want to do. Not a single one of their eliminations they have gotten the spoils from, the materials to refresh up on.
Just so good. A lot of connects coming in as well. There's going to be a mountain that people have to move up on. Boppin instantly seeing that, it moves up. Awesome game sense there. He connects. Now they have an entire choke line on everyone else at the bottom of this side of the server. They can end the game before the 9th zone even shows itself.
And I love what they're doing here. You talked about Boppin getting that mountain, getting the connection here, but Ghost is just staying down below. He knows the conditions of the server. He knows it's running dry on players, so they're making sure that they maximize all of the eliminations they can get, all the potential they can get out of the server. And I think they're going to clean up here, Shio, as they take out one more in Cam, one more player for them to find.
This awesome positioning by both people, spreading apart, then coming together on pinches. Now they're going to fight together. No reason to give the individual Keen 2 1v1s and risk that win. A big tarp coming through all the match. They finally got some fruition from their eliminations. We'll see if the Savage and Shadow up. He's trying to, not possible. They're bopping, coming out with a donkey laugh. Easy claps from this duo right now. Keen still working at it. Ghost is lost. Very awesome and smart play there, going for that last elimination point, making sure these guys have everything from this game possible. Just a perfect 5th to 9th zone height hold and awesome win at the end of the day.
And timing was everything there. They already blocked him out. You saw he tried to shadow out, but he didn't find any opportunities to get out from under that carpet that they made. It was so wide, so strong. And you know, by the time that he ran out of HP, by the time he was about to go to the zone, they made sure they capitalized and got that last elimination.
Absolutely. I'm seeing something a little bit odd here. I see Riversan on
NA East.
The East servers. Hello.
And, you know, not with his normal partner at all. Anthony, this is a new one for week 10.
Absolutely. You talk about week 10 pressure. You know, it makes people make these not maybe drastic, but interesting choices to make sure they are on top of their game and have the most amount of chance to qualify. They're playing at their peak performance. So at the moment, Anthony and Riverson, 2 big powerhouses, solos and duos coming together. We'll see if they can use their position as a pivot point to make sure the entire server answers to them, just like we saw from the last game, Bola.
And Anthony is one of those players that was severely, very, very hyped going into back at TwitchCon all the way back then in last fall. It's almost a year now since then. That's pretty crazy to think about. His partner Joseph splitting up now and, you know, going with Riversun here, and Riversun obviously possibly moving to the East Coast for this. Absolutely. Or playing on that West Ping regardless.
Big beams coming in as we talk about playing offer utility. Bolt Glace going down to this insane Munch Wombo combo. We talk about positioning as well as Anthony stays up top, letting Riverson stay in the fray of the fight, but providing support as well from just one level above. And they have that pyramid and floor edit as well. It's going to be impossible for those individuals who just went down to do anything for defense. But, you know, Riverson looked as the role model of the West community. A lot of people learn a lot from watching his VODs and his streams. We'll see what he can do on East. Right now, it's still perfect stuff. Maybe he switched up for his ping as well. But if he is playing on 60, it looks really good.
Looks good indeed. Now moving on to another duo that definitely looks good. It's Commandment and High Sky. Commandment obviously qualifying in the first week of solos. Not yet qualifying in duos. This partner High Sky right here. I also saw in the background Snood and Thwifo, who had a very, very great performance in week 8. And Snood, one of those guys who, you know, was just barely making it week after week after week. So last opportunity here. You have that rift to go. That's going to get them very far in this game.
Yeah, they actually choose, I think, to take the jump pad instead. It might have been an enemy rift. High Sky being the one who also had a very, very awesome Blackheart performance. We'll see if he can replicate that in this moment as well.
First place.
Yeah, first place. It was amazing. Lot reviewed that, learned. We'll see if that reload might come in the way of the beam. It does, unfortunately. No damage going down as he's in brick. Has the rift and smokes as well, as Commitment now gets up with his bandages. A big shot coming off on Warrior. That's a lot of good stuff earned by High Sky there.
And you have to actually notice and take note of how he actually pulled out his rift. He was like, let's go, I'm ready for this. But then starting to, you know, realize exactly what needs to go on. Commandment gets beamed down, but he waited that last extra second. He does have the minis and the bandages to recover it.
After week 6, people understood that white health is something you have to prioritize so much, especially with the storm flip coming in throughout this whole week. It was just recently disabled for week 10, so people might still be on that health. As for patterns, when you practice and then you play again, he's very thankful for that right now, Commandment, because he has those white HP, somehow finding each other in the same box after smokes. It's so hard to locate a good path to move around in, but now Commandment looking for anything to capitalize on. Big beams coming down, 272. Low ground commando skin. Fami finally trying to stick together, but the riskiest after it's done, because you have to now make an entire new development of your own layer, your own boxes, to get enough pressure to capitalize on through the rest of the game.
Now Commandment going down to low ground here with High Sky. I'm curious of what's in High Sky's inventory, because we haven't seen them swap any sort of heals or anything like that yet. But Commandment did get that siphon from the player who went down to zone, but hold on. Explode's coming in from the side. They back up together. Now Shadow's going in again. So, Shayo, you've reviewed all these situations many, many times. Look what happened here to Commandment. Playing low ground in these situations end up being so risky, but also potentially rewarding as he picks up one more elimination.
The biggest thing about this zone at the moment is that although people hate on them, balls are still available, making it so that there's not too many builds blocking Commandment from coming back up from that low ground. We talk about low, let's switch over to high. Riverson up top with Anthony, once again doing the rain dance, all the bullets falling down below. Frey, Snoot, and Dwifo are actually going to be the ones to get the front of that force from up top. Riverson dropping down, taking a little bit of fall damage, needs a siphon elimination here as he does not have any white heals at the moment. A surprise box opening is now going to be realized at where the pressure's coming from Riversand. We'll see if he can dynamically switch between these mat layers to get a nice vantage point or a surprise shot off on anyone, but there are so many hard mats at this point. Everyone's adapted on the rotation meta, the tunneling meta, when to have wood out, when to use brick and metal, and it's going to be so hard, especially with attack AR, to beam through these builds.
You can see him trying to open up the sight lines, trying to break through and create any sort of gap where he can find an opportunity. It does get a little bit of a shield tag, but still nothing yet. As you talked about, the hard mats being so useful for these players down on low ground. Now getting up close and personal, that's Dwifo who goes down, so Snood now left on his lonesome.
We talk about using utility. There's not much available left to crack open the server. We did see Riverson use some stinks earlier to capitalize on an elimination. High Sky now down on bottom with Bluff. These guys are going to have to fight for this entire layer. Big shots being traded. Bluff goes and gets that elimination on High Sky. TJ now falling with COD Genesis. One of the other duos left is going to be a 2v2v1. Anthony and Riverson want to crush down this entire high ground layer. Makes it very easy to pressure. No one's on ultimate low at the moment. Can Bluff call that bluff and go all the way down? COD Gen comes down to Bluff. He might get the siphon for that as well. Give him a nice, easy picking on Anthony and Riverson, as well as they might be able to take height now. A 1v1 coming in, but Riverson representing NA East now, popping off and getting that elimination.
Yeah, switching coasts, and I think that was a perfect, opportunity to talk about their chemistry there in the last moments. That timing by Anthony and Riverson to come down right on top of all the duos, right as they all felt within each other, all of them trading shots together, and then they just come in and clean up. That's all they needed to do.
Absolutely, just stick on the same page, not one person building and one person shooting, 2 shots coming in, and a nice 1-for-2 trade there, or 2-for-1 trade, netting them the win. We now have Zofer chilling on, once again, a polar peak lair. Looks like every region is now having their own respective biome to play in. We saw EU with a lot of guys or Northeast games. We'll see if the filter, the great filter, can be overcome this time as Thick Boy Uravs and 99 Zofer see if they can hold off on this pressure. The wall replaces, you're never sure how much ping your enemy has, how much you have. Ooh. A big trap placement coming in. B-Man going down, no secret there, as the whole server now knows the mistakes they've made on that push.
That was a crazy prediction there by Zofer to realize, hey, he's pressuring my roof. He maybe got a roof or 2 or whatever, but then realizing he's going to drop down on my wall next. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively place this trap. And he fell right into it.
The grind that these players do, Atlantis to Duo Arena to these big pro scrims, you'll be facing so many people that just work out for you all.
Peak, they're so valuable for them. No, I'm gonna go down.
At the moment, not Panda, not in his natural climate. Gonna get frosted over by Sheep, who's gonna survive with that big wolf fur all over his body. These misfits up top gonna make sure they're gonna do a little bit of mischievous things to the rest of the server as well. 4D, Raz, and Vorpal though, sneaky right below. Not sure if Fanwood and Sheep know where they are. Fanwood making sure he has some insurance just in case the zone does bounce back. It's actually looking like it is gonna go a little bit behind them. They have that prime position once again.
You just mentioned the insurance right there. What Famhood did was actually connect to the side of Polar Peak so that he makes sure, hey, Raz and Vorpal, I know you guys are down there. I know we landed on your base, but this is our real estate now. If you want to go ahead and make edit plays, no, you can't. I bought it.
The Fortnite housing market has some beef in it right now. We'll see if these guys can figure it out, up that property value. Gonna look at low ground right now. Once again, these people getting caught on the backside of zone, maybe using that rift a little bit too late, all the way up top. Postic taking an elim out on Tyler's. Tyler's now getting knocked after that. The sacrifice you make on low ground sometimes can be too much to give you any advantages as well. A stink grenade coming out on the follow-up. Axiom
perfect math. Right? He's doing it in his head right now. He knows exactly what he hit that player for. He saw the white damage come through. He did the math. He did the addition. He knows one stink is going to take you out. So perfect recognition here. They took out Painful's teammate a second ago, but no, I thought he was going to go ahead right through the back of that. It's going off the side of Polar right now, and we know who's up on top. It's still Famhood and Sheep continuing to hold that real estate.
The big thing about this Polar mountain, especially when you're playing on the side of it, is it always gives you natural ground to connect to on the mid-ground tarp layer. So that's going to be very, very important for all these teams who are going to be looking for shots above and below. Trying to shoot up from mid-ground is always a big risk as you can get knocked down from below you, but now that can be opened up. So Sheep is being very, very meticulous about where he looks at, focusing a lot of his attention on the low ground layers because he knows that this position might be a little bit more vulnerable than usual. Big shots coming out on him, but he has a lot of shields and a rift as well, just in case things do hit the fan. We'll see if he has to use it at all, dropping in Storm to now waterfall down. Once again, dope mat management. He's going to be using one mat all the time to fall, making sure he falls diagonally to make sure he saves on a mat from a tarp switch as well, which is really, really nice. One elim amongst this duo, though, so the capitalization on points might not be there yet, but there are 20 individuals left alive, 12 duos. That first placement point comes in, and we'll see if they can get more points all the way up to the Vic Roy.
I really like what they're doing here, moving so slowly forward. Does find Raz, who's below him all that time before, but slowly going in on the edge, really making it so that people don't realize that they're a threat, that they're up there, that they have high ground. And as these players decide to fight, couple in the zone, he does find KZ, but falls all the way down, unfortunately, going all the way down to 21 HP. And I already see a problem here because there's stink grenades in play, really, up on high ground.
Stink grenades in play on height is one of the most dangerous things because sometimes you can't even build higher. It's a lot worse for you at the end of the day. Wall replaces coming in. Dynamic Menace goes down. The 2-tap coming in. Very nice stuff from Sheep here. He's going to start to go down as well, but he's getting pressured from all sides at the moment. Fanhood is also alive on a tick of HP right now. They're going to be looking for connects if that's possible. Fanhood staying up so he doesn't get damaged at all either.
And that crazy switch, mat switch right there as he was waterfalling down with wood, and then suddenly he switches. He still had 430 wood. Switches to brick. Makes it possible for him not to get knocked down. And I'm seeing a bunch of names down here that we started with. We saw Urav's Posic, and then Bumpa and Slappy, who each week we have been coming back to, and they've been getting better and better as they've started their journey as a duo together.
Absolutely. High tier loot as well from everyone, so every shot that connects will connect hard. Clank now trying to find a way through with Posic. We'll see if they can come up. 5 eliminations up. Can they get more? The final placement points has been handed out. A shadow comes in, and he gets stopped and slapped away. Slappy gonna get eliminated at the end over there. Some edits getting misplayed from Clank. Can he make it in? 46 HP, 26 now. A lot of damage taken, gonna be detrimental towards the end of the game. Fanhood actually goes down, so Sheep is left by himself. Clank jumping all the way up. Looks like he actually gets eliminated by the Storm, trying to go for an advantageous position.
Slappy actually got the elimination there because the Storm took him out and Bumpa's still alive, so that point does